So today's guest, the owner of In Demand radio station. He's an absolute legend when it comes to Liverpool nightlife and the party scene. And he has been for probably the last 25, 30 years. And he runs a programme called Break Free, which helps other men and women, based on a lot of his own experiences, overcome their drug and drink addictions. Hope you all enjoy the podcast. So, Lee Butler, welcome to the 3% podcast.
Thank you, Marc. I'm made up, you know. I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. Like,
yeah.
So, you know, you're someone I think a lot of to start with, someone I really respect and what you stand for. And so when you asked me, I was made up, mate. Made up.
Well, first thing I want to say is I was out at the State on a Saturday at the Boss Night. So thank you to you and Jay for looking after us.
Yeah, I seen you up there cutting some shapes. You can move as well, can't you? You can still move. If anyone's wondering.
I'm getting better, mate, yeah.
He is, yeah.
With practice. That's all the dancing with the baby in the morning before school's paying off.
I spoke to him the next day as well. He was on the treadmill. He said, I'm just getting rid of this little bit of ale I had last night. That's commitment, innit?
It's got to be done, mate, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You're going to Monday then feeling fresh, don't you, as opposed to feeling like shit till Tuesday and Wednesday.
It was a good night, though, yeah. It was good to see you.
But thanks for being here, mate.
Nothing
but respect and love, as always.
Thank you, mate.
So, where did it all start? That's probably the first question. In fact, no, it's not. The first question I want to ask you is, how old are you and how many birthdays you have a year?
Do you know what, Marc? Honestly, right.
I remember back in the day, like, I used to think his fucking birthday again. I was in bed a year since the last one.
Carragher sent me a message yesterday.
Yeah.
I put it up on my story. He said, I don't know how old he is, if it's... I'm like, horse has got different years, hasn't it? It's like... If I get asked that all the time. You know, if I could retire now. Every time I got accused of that, I'd be on a beach somewhere in Jamaica.
Okay, well, let's be honest then.
I'm 52.
Have you ever blagged a birthday?
Never once. I swear on my kids' lives. Never. Every November. I used to get blamed for the 05-one's birthday, which was October. Little John's birthday in January, and then mine would come in November, and I would say, "Oh, it's fucking hell, it's your birthday again." I'd like, I'm a Scorpio. Every November, that's it.
I used to think, that hasn't been a year since his last birthday.
You know what's a common joke?
To throw a night on.
Everyone says it to me, more birthdays than the Queen. I could retire, honestly.
Well, to be fair, mate, like the Pied Piper, I haven't changed in the old time. No, it's probably been about 20 years, so whatever you do, mate, keep doing it.
I know.
But where did it all start? The love for music in general?
Do you know, if I go really way back, I mean, people mention me dad. Obviously, my dad's got really big history in the city. You know, Lee Butler, he was DJ at the Cavern and right the way through that, like, whole era of the Beatles and Motown, and then he was on Radio Merseyside, then he was on Radio City, then he was back on Merseyside, back on City, at the breakfast show, Hold Your Plums. So, you know, I was around music, you know, all my life. I can still remember when my dad used to bring his playlist home and he'd just have mountains of records and he'd just be playing them all in the back room, like records he'd been sent. Which is today's equivalent of going through music that you get emailed. You know, gone are the days of sitting there on a record player like my dad did, just listening to songs and going, no, don't like that, putting it in piles. Now you're getting emailed all your tracks digitally. So I was around music and stuff like that, but obviously, you know, probably the drive to become a DJ came was when I was in school. I wanted to be a footballer and a journalist and stuff like this. And then when I left school, I was a Spark. And I went to Uberg College and then I was Sparking. And then 88, 89, I was 19. And this whole new sound came about. Probably 87, 88 in the really early house music and acid house. And that was when I got the desire I always had a huge passion for music all the time. Even when I was a kid, you know, I'd be listening to like Luther Vandross, Bobby Brown, all these type of people. And I used to have two little Bush hi-fis. I remember them, they were white. Yeah. And like, I'd be mixing one song into the other. So it was in there. And I had a little microphone. I'd be like pretending to be on the radio or pretending to be a DJ. I was probably like 13, 14 at the time. But then when that whole new sound came, I was just like generations of us, just completely and utterly swept away by the sound. And it was then, because I was going clubbing before the rave scene, you know, as all of us, like with our Black ID and our Jag Muzzy.
Yeah, how old was you the first time you went to a nightclub?
Probably 15.
Okay.
And we used to go, it was a nightclub in Southport that we could get in. I remember we used to get the train up. And we'd get the train to Southport and it's this nightclub we could get in. And then we'd come out and go to Chippy and get the last train back. I remember one night all these Southport lads patted us at the train station. I was like, yeah, come on.
What was the club called?
As soon as they ran at us, I was like, whoa, hang on a minute.
What was the
I can't remember. I can't remember. It was a little side street. And then after that, when I was going to Quads and Park before, it was and Secrets in Netherlands, which was another club like sort of Shannon and Tracy clubs, like Chicken in a Basket, commercial music, and copping off. And even the Quads and Park, before it became a rave club in like 1990, Charlie C was the DJ. And he was unbelievable. And it was an amazing club just then. It was full Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. But they'd be playing, like Charlie played, like Luther Vandross, Jocelyn Brown, somebody else's guy, Curiosity Killer Cat, just all really good
really
pop
school.
music. But at the time it was current. But at no point at that point did I think I want to do that until the house music and acid house music kicked in, and we were going to these illegal raves and the atmosphere and the music and the drugs and everything else that went with it, the whole scene and the lasers. And that's when I was like, look, I want to do that.
Yeah. And you fell in love with it then?
Yeah. And I can remember in the Quads in 1990 and 91, and I'd just sit and speak to Mike Nolan, who was the resident DJ there, and I'd watch him, and I started buying music then.
What was the first club you DJ'd in?
The first club I DJ'd in, I mean, I got me decks then in like 1990.
Yeah.
But to get me money, to get me music, I had to start DJing. So I was DJing, doing like weddings, and I got a residency in the Phoenix, which was in Canny Farm.
Yeah, another Phoenix off the farm. Another Phoenix did well.
This was the Phoenix. So I was resident there of a Friday and Saturday night. I used to get 40 quid, which was a lot then.
Yeah.
But I used to just buy me vinyl with it. And then after there, I was even like 92, 93, 94 even, if I can remember back that far. I was DJing like around that era in Barsdon Night and Labour Club on Finch Lane. All these type of things.
Where are you from originally?
From Highton, from Pilch Lane.
Is that where you grew up?
Yeah, and then we moved to my dad must have got double the money. He was on Radio City and he went to Merseyside.
Yeah.
And he must have got a double money offer because he took us from like Pilch Lane to like Blundell Sands.
Oh, that's a bit of change, innit?
So I went from wearing like whatever I wanted to school in Highton to like having to wear a blazer and a pair of shorts. I was devastated. And he took everything off me then. That move took me footy off me because he played rugby and he put me in an all-boys school. So he took me girls and me footy off me in one go.
I didn't know you played footy.
Yeah, I played footy. I trained at Melwood for quite a while as well. But once I got old enough to go out, like many, I suppose, it came second fiddle to going out. Like,
Marcus, you've seen like a big influx, haven't you, in DJs over the last couple of years?
Yeah.
For me anyway, or like my nephew Lewis, it's his birthday today.
Yeah, is it? Happy birthday, Lewis.
Happy birthday, Lou.
Yeah, Lou.
But he's flying with the DJ, and we're just seeing loads of kids now starting to...
He's a fantastic lad, Lewis.
Yeah,
like,
he's a cracker,
not only is he a lovely, first and foremost, and the most important thing, he's a lovely young gentleman, and young lad, talented as well, and really humble. He's doing great at mode, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, we've seen loads of girls as well starting to come through. It is
Yeah,
really,
it is.
It's taken off, isn't it, the last few years?
I've done a couple of talks at Mode, and I always, like, the advice I always give them, the one regret I have is never getting into music production. Do you know, like, being able to make music. I can go in the studio with producers, which I do every week, and I'm always still making music, but I can't do it myself. I have to sit with a producer, and sometimes what you've got on up here, if I'm trying to tell you the sound I'm hearing, it's very hard for me to explain a sound because I can hear it, if you get me.
Yeah.
So when they're trying to play what you're hearing, it's hard. And if I had their bill, I always say to them, you know, like, there's lots and lots of DJs, but the ones that really...
Smash it, the ones
Yeah, the ones, if I'm wanting to play, if you're a DJ, but you're making music and I want to play all your music you're playing, I can't get it because you're making it.
Seen out the likes of Dave, aren't you? Dave Whelan and Mike Descala.
Yeah, unbelievably talented. And so that's one bit of advice, if you're going to DJ after your
Would you
brand.
ever be interested in like teaching or creating your own school or anything like that where the DJing's concerned? I know Mo, they're absolutely fucking brilliant.
Not regards like house music, because they do that amazingly, better than anyone. Les and all the team, they're amazing. But we have looked at starting a DJ school for radio DJs. It's completely different. Completely different. You know,
it's funny because all like obviously I'm a fucking big music fan. I love the state, all the old school. That's all my kind of music, but it's like something I've got no idea. don't understand it. I just love listening to it. I'll throw a few shapes out, but it's not like we're producing and DJing and all these things. I'm like absolutely brand new.
Yeah, I know. You could be taught, Mark. You could be taught.
Yeah,
Lewis will teach you.
Can you? Lewis is doing really well, to be honest.
I know. So I say that to them. If you learn to like produce music, that's probably the one regret I have. But once 89 come 90 and I was going out, that's sort of when, you know, I lost my job as a spark.
When would you say you started getting on like the big clubs and getting out there?
Probably 92 in the state. Davey T was the DJ there, and when the Quads and Park closed down, 1991 were just like, I wouldn't hand them years back under no circumstances. Like, you know, although it's a tough one because I had some of the best nights of my life in 1990 and 91 in the Quads and Park. It was like, it'd be difficult for me to put into words how special it was, because it was generations of people for the first time hearing this new sound of music. Like, lots of the generations now, they've grown up with the house music sound all around them, via the mum or the mum's mum or their sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
To us, at that point, it was just like, what's this? Like, what's this brand new sound? And that accompanied with the lasers and the venues and their legal raves and breaking into warehouses. And it was just like, you had lawyers and solicitors and like brickies and people on the dole and scallies and dead posh people just joining together, like hugging. And it was just like, to be part of that when it happened, you only have to look at the clips of the Quads and Park. It was sensational. And when that closed, Cream opened and then the State was open. And Cream's incredible nightclub, but Cream came from, James Barton was a DJ in the Quads and Park, and lots of it, the whole like scene in Liverpool. I believe there was other clubs before that, like the Underground and things like that, but that blowing up was like, and lots of them tunes from the Quad are still enormous. Enjoy Anthem, all these iconic real Asher JJ tribute, which you'd know if I played you them. They've made their way right through the State into the 051, right the way through Cream, the Buzz, the Paradox, the Aquarium, Garlands, all of them. And they still stand the test of time today, but they were born there and we were there when they were born, and that was the difference. Do you know what I mean? For that unique feeling of then. But I started DJing in the State. Davey, I was going every weekend. I got to know Davey and give Davey his due. He said to me, you know, do you want an opportunity to come and play? And I did, and it just grew and grew and grew.
How old was you then?
I was probably 23.
So you were about 4 years into DJing?
Yeah. I was 1993.
And that was it then?
Yeah, I was we started putting our own nights on, Monster Jam. We had a night called Monster Jam, and we were putting our own nights on in the State. And then I was there for 2.5 years, every Friday and Saturday. And then I got an offer to go to Buzz for me and Kane.
Yeah.
Double the money offer, which wasn't a fucking lot, to be honest with you. And I found it hard to leave the State, but I just fancied something new. And I went to Buzz.
Did you party yourself much outside of like the DJing and obviously working? Obviously it's something you love doing. But did you party and go out much alongside the time you were DJing, or was you kind of doing both things at the same time? Yeah,
they both went hand in hand. Thing is with like, I mean, I talk about the drug scene and if I'm talking about addiction, you know, I'm always very, very honest about it. And even when people in the program that me and Marcus have got, it's pointless trying to make out that there was never some good times, because there was.
Yeah.
You know, if taking drugs was instantly painful and bringing you all the misery that it does when it develops into an addiction, you wouldn't do it again.
Do it, yeah.
You just wouldn't do it from the start. But it wasn't, you know, that early 1991 and the ecstasy and stuff. It was social use and I didn't have responsibilities. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have a house. I was just, you know, and
But when you go back to like the best times that you were having, that was as in like the experience as a whole, wasn't it? Obviously, it weren't all about the drugs. It was about the people you were around.
Yeah,
and the community kind of. But you know, I know how powerful music is. We spoke about it, but just at that time, it just kind of brought everyone together. And
that scene at that point, and everyone was new to it, and it was something very, very special. And in the State in 92, 3, 4, was amazing as well. And as people who went to Cream, everyone's got their own nightclub. Do you know what I mean? Like yours might have been the 051, or someone else went to State, and people are quite precious about them. People who go to State and you say, I went to 05, it was miles past. They go, fucking wasn't.
Yeah.
Shit in there.
And like people who go, they wouldn't let me in the 051. I never actually went to the 051. No, I remember queuing up and got to the front. I used to be mad for like driving around in the car and not long past me test.
So most of the tunes who knocked you back.
Most of the tunes I was listening to at that time weren't actually in clubs. I was just one of them. I just used to love driving around in the car with my mates. And back in the day, it was be snarl and dorming and what are you looking at and all that caper. And then I'd go to get in the next week and be like, fuck off, see you later.
No chance.
You snarling this last week, you're not coming in. I'd be like, fair enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so everyone's got their own special place. Some people went to Cream and were part of like Paul Oakenfold and like the bigger DJs. The amazing thing about the 051 was like I went to Buzz from 95 and I was only there like less than 12 months. I didn't really enjoy it in the Buzz. There was lots of trouble in there. And it was like it didn't feel clubby like the State. As you know, you were at the State last Saturday. It's got a really unique club and feel about it. Was the Buzz was like carpets and although it was good when the 05 came and offered me in 96, October 96, I started there. I've got a better memory about where I was and where I played and DJ'd and tunes and what year the tune came out than I ever about anything else. Like my bird's birthday, the kids' birthdays, what I did in the 90s, when the kids were born, where we were. I can't remember none of it. Someone says to me, remember that tune? I go, October 96.
I won't explain the reason for that. So it probably get you into trouble. but I do get it, do you know what I mean? I used to be the same for UFC. I remember
honestly, I can remember
every round of every fight and every name and everything, and now I'm like...
My missus says to me, my wife says to me, like, oh my God, your memory's terrible around like important things we did. And I'm like, I know, what if it's like...
I won't get into too much trouble, but I remember watching something that basically said, there's a fellow called Jim Quick, he's a brain fucking teacher. He teaches you to improve your memory and things like that, like a memory coach, a learning coach. And I remember he on a video I was watching, he was saying basically the reason why you forget people's names is because you don't care. So he said, if you met someone and they give you an $100 bill, he said you'd never ever forget the name, or if they smacked you across the face, he said you remember the name forever because there'd be an emotion or a reason to remember the name. He said, but the reason why you forget everyone's names in general, or things don't stick in your memory is because you don't.
I'm not that bad. I can remember the names. I can remember my kids' names and my wife's. But certain like.
But if it gets you in the doghouse, mate, I'm apologising in advance. I know how much you love your family and everyone else.
I do, mate, I do. But no, I'm like, my memory around like music and stuff like that's like ridiculous, as you just said. You're probably the same about the UFC. But yeah, when I'm at the 051 and 96, but the partying and the well, I say partying, it was partying at the start. It wasn't partying in the end, you know, like them good times of 91, 92, 90. And probably,
when you speak about the good times, you're speaking about the experience as a whole, which obviously probably did involve,
of course, it's not
drugs
just
and things like that. Which it's a feeling, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course it is. And like I had some of the best nights of my life with them people in them places.
At what point though did you feel like the drug side of it got too much, or
well,
got a
you know, for me, the social use turned into abuse, and then cocaine came in, which changed it a lot. And then me use became abuse, which developed into an addiction where once I started, I couldn't stop, and the social aspect was finished. I was like, ripped my personality away, couldn't perform, couldn't speak, and couldn't stop.
Was that down to cocaine the main drug? Yeah.
But
I've never used a drug in my life, so it's something more again. I haven't got any experience, and it's hard for me to, like you said before, over the music you can't actually explain it because it's nothing I've ever felt.
No, I know.
Obviously, in the earlier days, what type of drugs would people be? It was like LSD and things like that.
When we first started taking drugs in like 89, 90, it was LSD and acid and trips and MBS and with all like acid and then ecstasy, and then that progressed onto cocaine. And even in like early 90s, people were taking speed, and we were taking all like speed, ease, trips, and then cocaine came along, and then it just took me to such like an antisocial. Everything it wasn't when I first started taking drugs. But the problem with when you develop an addiction is, or for me, is like, you couldn't go, well, I'll just stop taking cocaine, I'll just keep taking half an E, because as soon as I started taking drugs, I was taking them all. There was just like no stopping me. And that's addiction. There's a difference. Like people think I'm judging people when I'm so passionate about recovery and sharing the knowledge that I've got and giving people hope. And some people think, some people message me and take offence and say, well, you shouldn't speak about everybody. Like, some people can go out and have a good time, and I'm not judging no one. There's people who can go out and go out once every 2 months and go out and have a night out and party and have half an E and go home and go to bed and get up and have the Sunday dinner and go to work Monday and don't go out for 3 months. I've got no problem with anyone, whatever they want to do. I'm just talking about the generations of people who are.
I don't condone drugs in any way, but going back to this question, which was actually in my mind before when you were speaking, do you think there is a room to use any kind of substances like that when you're out under control? So like you're saying, there's people who disagree with you and say, obviously,
Don't think some people just think I'm judging everybody who takes drugs. I'm not. I'm just talking to offering a support network and an outlet to people who are in the place I was.
Yeah.
And there's a lot.
Yeah, there is,
There's a lot. And it's hard for people to reach out because I know what I was like. So I reckon, probably looking back to your earlier question, what year was it when I was in and out of recovery for 10 years before. I mean, it's 5.5 years now since I've had a drink or a drug, and I'm done. Like, I'll never ever drink or take a drug again. Fact, it's non-negotiable. It's just like, it's the best decision I ever made. But at the start, it felt like the hardest, most toughest decision I'd ever made. It was like really daunting and scary, the prospect of never having a drink again in my life.
I think one of the big things when I look at you is obviously with knowing you as well, to still be in that environment and obviously still around drugs, because without sugarcoating it, you're obviously going to see people using drugs pretty much every weekend.
And drinking.
And drinking.
The two going on.
The environment in general, because I actually understand, even psychologically, the power and the influence your environment has on your own behaviour and your own way of thinking and things like that.
I think, Mark, a lot of people ask me that question. I think it made me stronger. That's why I'm so strong regards my commitment to never drinking or taking drugs ever again.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with other people's techniques and programs. In fact, I've just got unbelievable admiration and love for anyone who's in AA, sharp recovery,
helping in some way,
intuitive thinking skills, whatever. Whether you're one day at a time and you've had to surrender because you're powerless. Some people get too protective over their own way. Well, if you're not doing it my way, then
it becomes like a religion. So
yeah, and it's like we're all after the same goal: free from addiction. But I know people question that ability to say I'm done for good. Like, other programs are one day at a time and you're always an addict. I don't believe that. That's just my firm belief. If my mum smoked ciggies 40 a day, but 15 years ago she stopped. Now, is my mum still addicted to ciggies? No.
Yeah.
She doesn't smoke. She hasn't smoked for 15 years. So I'm not going to call my mum and I say, well, you're still addicted to ciggies, don't mum, aren't you? She did have an addiction to ciggies and she stopped and she changed. That's just that's what I genuinely, passionately believe, because I am not an addict anymore.
Yeah.
I don't drink and I don't take drugs and I never will again. So am I addicted to drinking drugs? No. People say, well, the problem is, but you can't drink, Lee. They say you can't drink and take drugs because you know the consequences. And I say, but I can.
Yeah.
It's my choice. That's the difference between being powerless and the choice I have. I have a choice. Of course I do. If I want to leave my house, Mark, and walk to Sefton in West Derby and get a pint and drink it and order a triple vodka and lemonade and order another one and then find a way to get cocaine, I could. You're telling me I can't? Because of course I can. I can walk out of ours and go to the pub and order a drink. I choose not to, and that choice is the power. I've power. It's at my choice, and I choose never to drink or use again. Why do I choose that? Because the rewards that come with it just are sensational.
But what a mentality to have. Do you know what I mean? And how much of an inspiration that must be to obviously other people.
As you know, though, Mark, it's all about learning. For me, I was in and out of all different services, AA, 12 steps, and it was only when I bought a book, Rational Recovery, by Jack Trimpey, which was about the science behind
the brain.
The brain. That something clicked, which is why I'm so passionate about the program we've got with Break Free, is because the amount, for years and years, I opened up about it 5 years ago and just spoke all about the battle and the voices and the argument that people think they're having
your
in their
experience.
Head. Yeah. And
personal experience.
The one thing people resonated with me was when I'm talking about the argument that they think they're having with themselves. And the pain, when I do my group, I say to people at the end, come on, everybody around the group, tell me 2 things you're grateful for that your recovery's brought you. And nearly everyone says not having that argument anymore. Well, they think they're arguing with themselves, but no, when you understand the science behind where addiction lives and where it sits in your
different part of the brain, having a conversation.
Yeah. It's your midbrain talking to your neocortex. Your rational part of your brain actually really wants to stop.
Yeah.
Because I can remember that place begging, broken, having a nervous breakdown.
When you speak about your neocortex, that's obviously the thinking part of your brain, and the back's the survival.
Yeah,
so it's your thinking part and your survival part.
Your survival part.
Having an argument.
The release of dopamine, which is survival mode. And it's, your breathing's in there, sex is in there.
Yeah, your primitive.
Your primitive part of your brain. And that part of your brain doesn't understand consequences. But the rational part of your neocortex does. So when I'm saying to people, these arguments I'm having, thinking with myself, when I'm broken on a Wednesday, I've used for 3 or 4 days. I'm drinking straight vodka, straight brandy. I'm using cocaine. I'm buying it, throwing it down the toilet. I'm paranoid, thinking the police are in my garden. I can't breathe. I'm in hell. Or I'm going missing, I'm not coming home, my missus doesn't trust me, and I'm turning back home and she's like, we're having murder and the kids are seeing us fighting and the police are coming to the house, and just, my life's a mess. My life's a mess. When I'm desperately trying to fix all the shit on a Tuesday, Wednesday, when I finally finished, that's because my midbrain, where my addiction has developed, it's been fed. It's like, I've got me drinking drugs now. I'll leave your neocortex, the rational you, to deal with the consequences of my addiction. So the real you wakes up and goes, oh, fucking hell, I'm not going to get back in ours. What am I going to say to my missus? I haven't gone to work. Oh, I'm going to lose my fucking job. Rational brain waking up. So I'd be in ours crying my eyes out. I can remember it being in the bathroom. See, one of the most powerful things for me in my recovery was never forgetting what my addiction brought to the table, because I learned the hard way through relapsing. Lots of times I'd go 6 months, 9 months, 14 months. It tricked me to start drinking. I'd start drinking and I'd use again, and then I'd go off the rails again and again. And I realised what my addiction wanted me to do was forget. So I get really empowered by being able to remember the place that my addiction took me to, because it empowers me. Some people don't like to look at it because it makes them feel guilty.
Yeah, but I think that's the perspective what you bring to it yourself, because it might sound like an absolutely fucking crazy comparison, but I know, obviously I train and do a lot of things which are physically difficult and mentally difficult intentionally, whether it's a training session or it's the cold water, or when things get hard, I recall maybe you could say negative experiences from the past, or I recall things maybe I shouldn't be in this position I'm in now, and that actually gives me power over, it makes me feel stronger, actually empowers me, as opposed to make me feel negative or sad.
If I can't remember the misery and pain that my addiction brought me and my family and my health and my job and my wealth and everything, then my addiction this is when I was in and out of recovery, my addiction had a level playing field to talk to me, and my midbrain could say, oh, come on, you've done well, it's 4 weeks now. Oh, it's 3 months. Everything's better with your missus, you're back at home. Great with the kids, work's going well. You know, you deserve reward. You deserve a little go. You know, fucking hell, what you do for you? And once I had the ability to recognise my addiction, I had an opponent. So when people come to me and they're in our program, they're like, it's like a light bulb moment.
But when you say recognise, what you're doing through speaking about your own experience and understanding is, people aren't aware of this conversation which is going on.
But they think they're arguing with themselves. Yeah. And if you're arguing you can't win an argument with yourself. It's impossible.
People always convince. It's cunning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your midbrain where your addiction's developed. It's a salesman. I call it the silly salesman that's selling misery. Like, mine can never convince me that it's got anything else to offer other than the fucking absolute carnage it brought me. So there's no temptation for me. So you're saying, is it hard for you in work? Not at all, not no more. Because if people are drinking and using drugs, I've retrained my brain completely. I've reprogrammed it through hard work and tools and techniques, sticking to them constantly. My brain was wired for 28 years, programmed on the back of any emotion to drink and take drugs. Good news. Oh, that's right, yeah. Fucking mid-brain would kick in and go, oh yeah, well, why don't you fucking
celebrate?
Celebrate. And it would take me down this pre-programmed, think of it like a hole that it's dug out. And it'd take me down that one, and at the end of it was drinking drugs. Bad news. Oh, fucking hell, you're joking. Work, stress, arguing. You fucking think you're sorting to. Fuck this. Mid-brain kick in. Yeah, fucking why don't you just bang, bang, take me down this pre-programmed route. Now, in order for me to reach fire and wire and train my brain, I had to start understanding, learning.
How it works.
Yeah. And once I could recognise this battle I was having of like, going to matches on this week, it's Saturday, you've worked hard this week, why don't you just have a couple? Don't go mad. Don't do what you usually do and stay up all night and end up carrying on the next day. But man, I'll just have a couple. Just be on by 12. And what I learned was when I could recognise my addiction, I had an opponent. And if you've got an opponent, you've got something to beat.
But in a sense, what I can actually see and understand you've done is you become more conscious.
Completely, yeah.
And more aware of yourself.
Yeah, and it's called rational recovery. It's really, really incredibly rational. And the one big reward that my recovery's brought me is that absolute ability to be rational in the present moment. I'm so rational now. Instead of reacting, I stop and respond, I think.
Yeah.
But years ago, any emotion was just automatically.
Well, that's how people live now, basically. Explain it in a state of fear, isn't it? When they're in a state of fear, it's like...
But that's survival. That's that part of your brain. Survival mode, that's your midbrain. It's like, it wants you in that fight or flight, fear. Oh my God. And the amount of, the program that we've got is just, it's amazing because that light bulb moments of people going,
how does the program work? What does it consist of? So I enter the program, I come to the first meeting.
So the program, initially the whole thing started by me just being really open and honest online. But what I found, Mark, was I was overwhelmed with the amount of people that could relate to what I was saying what you're saying and that you're talking about there, that argument you're saying you thought you were having with yourself, I have that every weekend. So when someone's talking and all of a sudden you don't feel like you're alone, you're like, oh my God, it's not me, I'm not going mad. He's hearing that. All these lies and manipulation from his midbrain, from his addiction, and his rational brain's going, nah, don't go. You know what'll happen? Your missus will flip if you go. And your midbrain's going, no, but just don't go mad. Just go in the afternoon. If you go to 2, you'll be home for 5. Get something to eat on the way home.
Yeah.
And it tricks you to get you to that location, knowing once you're in there, surrounded by them people, you'll go, oh, go on then, just have a little one, come here. And then it's Monday, Tuesday with me again then, and the chaos is it. And I go, what the fucking hell happened? Well, my midbrain tricked me, my rational brain. So when I'm having this argument, God, don't you know what'll happen? It's going, yeah, God. It's literally answering you. Like I say to people when they take, I say, okay, well, say the statement, I'll never drink or take drugs again. I say, and listen for what your addiction says back to you. And I say that to people now, if someone's watching and they're going, I'd like to stop. That part of them, their rational part of them, deep down there, right in a voice that sits in their neocortex, in their frontal brain, the real them.
Part,
yeah. If they say, you know what, I'm done, I'm not drinking or taking drugs again, you'll hear your addiction answer you. It'll go,
you're full of shit.
Fucking hell, what? What about when the kids get married? Oh, you'd be boring, couldn't you? You'll have no social life, won't be able to go anywhere. Fuck, what about when you want to go here all day? Because that's what mine said. That's why I mean, at the start, it feels incredibly daunting. But once you take back control and you get all the rewards, and I can compare now, I've got 2 lists. I've got a list of every single thing and every bit of pain my addiction brought to me and my family. That's one of the first things we make people do in the program. So when they come to us, in the end, I got to a point where I was like, I've got a choice here. I either keep doing it online and people inbox me and message me, and I was giving my email address out and I was sending people emails back with the book, Rational Recovery. Get the book, understand the brain, recognise your addiction. Once you can get and separate yourself and you have the tools, you can start competing and winning. And the more you win, the more rope in the tug of war. Because at the start, my addiction had all the rope. I had about that much rope. And as soon as the weekend had come, it'd go, hey, sun's out, fight's on Saturday, bang, that's me done. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Once I started winning and learning, I was getting more of the rope, and it was hard, and it was uncomfortable. But there was stuff in the book that, for me, I needed more. Like, I was relapsing through the book because I was learning like anything. If you want to get good at something, you've got to practice. And so I'm practicing, reading and learning the technique, but I'm losing on the way. And then when I started opening up about it, I was like, well, either I have to stop because this is coming overwhelming now. It comes with a big responsibility when people are actually opening up to you. It's a very personal thing for them to do. So for me to ignore them, like when they've reached and looking out for hope. So I'll be sitting there with 70, 80 emails on a Monday.
You feel guilty, don't you?
Yeah. And then inboxes. And then if I hadn't replied to one for a day or two and they've been drinking and using, then you've got that bad attitude and that ego that's in there. They're going, oh, fucking hell. Who do you fucking think you are? You haven't even answered me. And it was overwhelming me. But I didn't want to lose the passion I had. So I just thought, I need to set something proper up. Which we did, which then got overwhelmed. We tried to set it up as a CIC and go for funding, which we didn't get. And in the end, it was like, we've got hundreds of people reaching out. So we set up a proper program, which is 12 weeks, 3 meetings a week, which we do in the Shankly, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with my partner Marcus, who's...
Is it the same people who come to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or is this for different groups?
Yeah. So if we've got 100 people with us now, they get split into 30s, and each group gets their own WhatsApp group. So when we're learning these people to start recognising their addiction, talking to them, and it's a light bulb moment, because as soon as we get them and explain the technique and send the videos into them to start them before they actually join, when they register and join and they're coming on, there's like a little section before them where they get all the videos and the understanding of the technique, and we speak to them and then they come in, because people are joining at different points. Some people are joining when someone else in that group will be in a month in. So, but nearly all of them go, oh my God, I can hear my addiction all the time now. I can't believe it. It's like a light bulb. I'm like, I can hear it saying, oh, well, what are you going to do and be able to go away with your missus? But the fact of the matter is, the importance of that list, I say to them, you need some evidence.
Yeah, a lot of this relates to the stuff what obviously I'm into, in the sense that for me, everything's about, you're basically making people become more conscious of themselves.
Totally.
More aware of themselves. So through becoming more aware of themselves, and then obviously by the sound of the different practices which you're implementing, it's like I laugh because I have gratitude lists. I write a list of things I'm grateful for every morning in the present moment. Also things which I'm grateful for in the future, but I write them present tense. And I look at it all the time. I can be feeling a bit down, or for whatever reason, there's different, not every day's all sunshine and rainbows. I say that all the time.
Totally.
I only have to go and pick my book up and go, fucking hell, that's where all the things were.
Yeah.
I've got to be grateful for, and what they do is make me consciously aware that I'm actually in a fucking very, very blessed situation, and that's what pulls me out of that negative state.
At the start though, these people who reach out, they've got no hope. Like I was the same. Like my missus had kicked me out. I couldn't see my kids.
But as you say, the programme to focus on the negative all the time, they're living in survival.
Your
so
addiction loves a worst case
yeah.
scenario. So I would be continually drinking and using off the fact that my life's a fucking mess. Because that emotion, like I said before, any emotion, my addiction was pre-programmed to go, oh, fucking hell, she's not speaking to you. You can't see the kids again this week. Fucking get a drink. Don't have a lime, just get a drink. It's the coke that's making you fucking weird and paranoid and sitting up. Just have a little drink this afternoon. My addiction knew, as soon as it got me to drink, I'd use. So it would stop talking to me about cocaine and just say, have a drink. And as soon as I had a drink, it'd just go, what about this as well? And it was just like, it's a chemical called cocaethylene. That is a chemical that your brain produces when you mix drink and drugs together. That's what I was addicted to. But my addiction would go, you can't commit to not drinking. It was the drink. The turning point for me was when I finally kept relapsing through drinking again. Then I'd use. I was like, hang on. And then the more I learned, I was like, hang on, this is actually, it's scientific. It's chemical. Like you release called cocaethylene. Is when cocaine. Is that
related to dopamine?
Yeah, it's an advanced form of like drink and drugs together. Yeah. So when I drink, my brain would go, that's not enough. Where's the drugs that go with it? Or if I take drugs, if I have cocaine, I'd be like, I need to fucking drink now. I'm wired. Give me a drink. Yeah. Or if I drunk first and I'd be pissed, I'd go, fuck it, I'll have a line. Bang, cocaethylene. So the more we learned, and Marcus, my partner, and it's just like his passion. He's left his job to do this full time. His knowledge and his passion is just unbelievable. But you have to have that. So each person goes in a WhatsApp group. And
so does he do that full time now? Yeah. That's his job.
As you can imagine, Mark, 100 people in WhatsApp groups 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And what we ask them to do is voice it. Your addiction wants to talk to you, and it wants you on your own to hold a conversation with. If you can get you on your own and go, hey, fucking hell, you know what, it's a week now. Why don't you just fucking have a little go? What its main job is to get you into a conversation, to engage with it. Because believe it or not, the dopamine release that it's chasing, that we've become addicted to, the midbrain, you get a release of dopamine in the interaction. So if it's going, oh, why don't you fucking, Saturday, the match is on Saturday afternoon. And you're going, no, I'm in this fucking programme. Don't. It's going, yeah, but fucking hell, you can't be expected to stuff for good. So just stop going mad like you used to. Just calm down a bit. Fucking do it once a month, moderate it. And, you know, do it every 6 weeks and have a little go. Just do it Saturday. And you're going, oh, and then you start engaging with it and going, oh yeah, I could go there just early on. Oh, it's exciting. The dopamine, little bits of dopamine are getting released. So your addiction's going, and then it gets difficult. So what we're trying to learn people to do is not engage with it. Not engage, not interact at all. So the only way to do that is for them, to, as soon as they recognise it, to voice it in the WhatsApp group. Because I say, it's like a thief coming up your path. Everything I love is in my house. My family, my wife, everything I've earned, worked hard for. Everything I love. My addiction would sneak in. Now, we are literally like the security light. As soon as you put your toe in the path and goes, hey, why don't you just bang, fucking security light, like any thief it goes, fuck. But you've got to recognise it.
Yeah, it brings attention to it.
Yeah, and it'll go, shit, lights on me. And so you've got 100 people all voicing. Fuck. It's tough.
It's full time, yeah.
It's full time, and then they're all
even
in.
emotionally and mentally, it's
they're all in.
Draining,
But it's no other program does it like that. That's the unique difference. Is it's so full on the support, and then obviously they have the group meetings, and then they have a walk of a Saturday. We have a gym session twice a week on a Monday and Friday. We go bowling with them, and it's given them a community. Like some great friends, like some of the stories and the
typical thing, strength in numbers, isn't it? And it's so true, because we're actually designed to communicate and collaborate and to come together and operate.
It's so scary for people
in a community
at the start, because what I say to them, that fear that you're feeling, it's your addiction. You have to have the ability to recognise and separate. Like, some of them came for their first walk on Saturday, like 20 new ones come for their first walk, and you can see the fear that their addiction. I say to them, listen for your addiction when you wake up Saturday morning and the walk's at 10. Listen for it talking to you. So we'll give you the understanding that we're trying to get you to understand. Listen for the excuses it throws in to not go. Oh, fucking hell. Say you've got COVID. Say your mum's like, the bus, your car's broke down. So when we get there, I say, who's heard from it this morning? And they all go. I say, you're learning. What have you heard? And they go, mine said, it's the weather. And mine said, that's say my mum's not well. Mine said, I say, you've just heard your addiction. Stop when you come to the one place it knows you are going to fucking stop it getting fed. The last place it wants you is in here with us, learning, shining a light on it. I said, and compare this feeling, this fear it was giving you to the hope you have 2 hours later when you walk from here. That's your rational brain going, oh, that was great, I can't wait to get home. I'm fucking dead excited.
So you're just replacing one high basically for another.
Yeah, and so one of the main jobs
without all the consequences. Yeah, feeling like
see, mine used to say to me, I know everything. So when I'm sharing and we're in groups, and Marcus is hosting a group and lots of other team members, we have team members in our group now in our programme.
Who've come through the programme.
Who've come through, who were 12, 18 months without a drink of drug, who were offering the same technique and advice, helping us help these people. But without that understanding, I was stuck. And that's why I'm so passionate, because it's not a very, very well-known technique at all. Lots of people just end up getting, go to the doctors, they give them antidepressants. People come to us and I say, stop drinking and taking drugs and assess.
A big reason why going into like the whole addiction thing, from my understanding, obviously it's not something I've experienced, but even the same, if I feel like a bit stressed or things are going on or busy, it's dead easy to turn the telly on and start fucking shoving chocolate in. And it is something I won't sit here and say I haven't got a sweet tooth and I don't mind. And I know it's totally different, but at the same time it is a form of like escaping yourself, isn't it, or your problems, or so there's other ways to look at it, isn't it? It's not always
and you know this
searching for a high. A lot of people use it as a method to escape themselves.
Yeah, and like the tools we give them, one of the first ones, as I've just said to you, like lots of other recovery programs and ones I was in were all like, people come to us and go, I don't want to look at everything I've lost. I don't want to look at all the shit and carnage that drinking and taking drugs has brought me. I can't deal with it. We're completely the opposite. We say, okay, go away and write down your list of evidence. Everything that your addictions put you through, how it made you feel, things that stuck off you, kids, prison, suicide attempts. It's got to hurt to write it. It's got to really, really upset you. And people go, I'm not writing that. I'm not doing it. But the thing is, that's everything your addiction will never mention. My addiction never said to me, I tell you what, Lee, you've done well now, it's 3 months. Why don't you just have a little drink this afternoon with your missus? Go out the way to Chester. Because that's how I got tricked a few times. Just go to Chester out the way. Don't drink in work, because it's a clever bastard. Me midbrain, me addiction, it just wants to drink of drugs. So it would say to me, go to Chester and have a few nice drinks with your missus in the night. Remember when you and her used to get bevy day? Sex life was different then. It'd throw it all at me. Remember all of my gear you'd get all, and the sex life would be great and fun. When you both have a bevy, miss that, don't you? That was it. Talking to me. Go to Chester, just have a little glass of champagne. How well you've done. Asking me to celebrate the fact that I'd stopped by drinking. But I fell for it.
Yeah.
And I went up there and it went, me rational brain was competing against it, was going, no, you know what'll happen if you start drinking? And it'd go, yeah, but it was the cocaine that was making you weird and wide and smash the trust and making you stay out all night and go missing. You can have a drink with your missus. Just never go back to that. And I was like, you know what, yeah. And I did, and I went and did that. And then a week later, I didn't think of using drugs that night. The week later, I was in work. It's not soft, it waited. And the next week it went, you were all right to have a drink last week, your missus didn't even think about having a line of cocaine. You're all right to have a drink now, drink in work. As soon as I started drinking in work, within a week or two I was using, and I couldn't stop again for 6 months. It's like a caged animal. Like, once it gets out the cage, it doesn't want to go back in.
Yeah.
So we make them make that list, and we say, it's never going to mention this to you. So when you start to recognise it, what tools have you got to compete against the desire that your midbrain's trying to generate? Them little releases of dopamine when it's saying, hey, just a little go on Saturday afternoon. The lads are going and all them girls are going as well. You know, Hardy, yeah, go on, just go for a bit. And then speaking to the lads, he's saying, just come down for a few hours. Just have a little thing. You know, we'll go in here and we've got on the guest list here. Well, you could just have a little go. All of a sudden you're in here, inhaling like, a bit of desire. Oh yeah, it's interacting with you. It's releasing bits of dopamine. So how do you compete against that? How do you kill desire? With misery.
By becoming aware of it.
And if you get your list out.
Yeah, and having your reason why.
You go, hang on a minute. I'm voicing this in the group. These are the tools I've learned. Voice it as soon as I hear it. Hey, mine's saying this. I've answered the conversation with it. I've been engaging with it for too long. It's got me thinking the deal might be real here. Can someone ring me? Yeah, we'll ring you now. Okay, well done. Fast forward the tape, mate. That's another tool we use. You probably heard of that. And that's basically stopping, recognising what it's saying. Go on, just go for a few and then fast forwarding the tape to the real place it will end. And if you fast forward the tape, you will end up on your list.
Yeah.
It's the end result is the chaos, the carnage, the lying.
The list in a sense is just the reason why not to, isn't it?
Yeah, but at the start, it's so
People
hard.
don't want to face it.
When your brain's been trained to go down this program, it's not easy to get it to build this new route, this new channel.
As you say, you've got to completely rewire and reprogram.
Totally and utterly, yeah. But you can't. And like this technique now is who I am. But it's not what I have to do, Mark.
Well, I say the same thing, even though obviously I can't say I experience addiction. I've got friends who obviously work the 12 steps and things like that, and I say to them, what I do every morning, obviously big on the morning routine, everyone knows that. We'll touch on that in a minute, but my morning routine, in a sense, is my 12-step program. I know we spoke about in your practice meditation. The meditation for me is the practice of becoming more conscious and more aware of what I'm thinking to help me take control and manage my mind. So essentially, my 12-step program in the morning's my break-free program, and I'm maintaining a positive way of thinking, because I always say when you walk out the door, if you're watching the news and all these other things, it's all negative. So, and that takes control of how I feel, and how I feel basically is responsible for how I speak, how I act, what I do every single day. So it's not much different from when I'm hearing you describe, because I didn't know what the program entailed of, but basically helping people become more conscious of themselves, more aware of themselves.
Totally. But what you've got to do is you've got to because you know, it's a formidable opponent, addiction. It is like, and when it develops, the way mine did and the way lots of people's do, where it's just as desperate as you are to stop, which is your rational brain, which is your neocortex, wants to stop desperately. You're just constantly getting tricked by your midbrain. It's not asked about the consequences. Your addiction in the midbrain will take your
midbrain
wife.
Thinks you need them substances to survive, doesn't it?
It's survival. It thinks you need it to survive. So it just goes, I'm not asked if you lose your kids and your job and your health and your wealth and your family. And
I need to survive. That's our number one fucking priority is to survive,
like,
isn't it?
Like that's the type of part of your brain that when you go to sleep of a night, you don't have to remind yourself to breathe. Your midbrain breathes for you to survive. If you get hot, and you don't have to say, I'm fucking boiling, can I sweat, please?
Sweat.
You just do. Your midbrain goes, hang on, survival, he's overheating, sweat. It's in there, and it's scientific. It's the primitive part of your brain. But these tools...
Like what you're doing is essentially helping people become conscious.
Yeah, but once they get it, it's so great to see, though, because these people are the reason...
That changes everything. That doesn't just change...
I'm passionate about it is because I'm saying to these people, look, trust me, people come to us from other programs who haven't drank and used, believe it or not. They come to us and say, I've been in doing this program for 9 months, or like someone might have been in doing the 12 steps and saying, like, I'm 9 months without drinking drugs. Like, they use the word clean. I don't like that word. I just think makes me sound like you were initially dirty.
Label.
You were dirty and now I'm clean, and you're not. The best person in the world can develop an addiction. And they'll say, but I'm still struggling every weekend. Like, my passion is getting people to a place where you are under no doubt that the choice you made to never drink or take drugs again is the best choice you ever made. Like, and there's no battle. Like you said earlier on, you know, I am surrounded by it every weekend, but you know what, Mark, in all brutal honesty, it's not just my industry where people are drinking and taking drugs. You can go to the match.
Of course,
to watch the match. Go to toilets. There's a good chance you'll see people using.
There's that many people drinking at home now.
Yeah, the drinking bit.
At the same time, they don't even realise, a lot of them, they're not aware that it's actually an issue because it became normal.
Like, you go to a wedding. I mean, look, the drinking is different, sociably accepted far more. So that's why I struggled for so long with accepting. I've got to stop drinking, because when I drink, I take drugs because it wants this cocaine. That's what it wants. But the battle for me was always the drink. I was like, fucking hell, I'm never going to drink again. I'll be a boring bastard. But the key with your list is, when you hear it saying, you'll be a boring bastard, you'll have no social life. My list was the most antisocial list you have ever seen in your life. It was me on my own, drinking and using cocaine alone with my dressing gown on, or in some mad party, house, mate's house, looking out the window, or hiding away in my mum's. I'll be a boring bastard if I stop. Look at my list. You're bad later if you stop. You'd be boring.
Does Dad still drink?
What?
Does she still
drink?
drink?
Yeah, my missus still drinks. And I'm like, my missus just kicked me out. And I can hear you saying to me, well, you won't be the same with your missus if you don't drink. What about your sex life? What about all them mad nights you'd have pissed with your bed? Bed hated me when I was drunk, but my addiction's not going to tell me that. That's why this list is so important, because it's all the evidence. It's like being in court and someone lying about you over there, like your addiction's going to lie. And you having all the evidence in your pocket and going and letting them lie and not getting it out. We are saying, when you hear the liar, your midbrain starting to fucking try and convince you with its lies.
Yeah.
Get that out. Because my list could answer everything, could prove wrong everything my addiction was saying. And now I know that. I've got this other list over here, this list of gratitude, of all the rewards. And now it's a simple choice for me. Do I want to choose to drink and take drugs and get that misery, utter misery, or do I want to choose to not drink and take drugs and have all this over here? I'm fitter, I'm stronger, I'm healthier. The creation, and an ambition that comes out of self-empowerment and the choice to step away from that old box of pain I talk about and this new box of joy. Of course, as you said, there's still life on life's terms in there. There's still arguing with my missus, of course I do. Still stressed out with the kids, yeah. Work, not half.
Yeah.
Festivals, radio stations, all of it, up the wall at times. Years ago, my addiction would have jumped on that emotion of an argument or work stress.
So what do you do now then when you feel that stress or you feel
my
a bit
addiction
overwhelmed?
never ever challenges me no more. People find that hard to believe. They're saying, well, you didn't work every week, you must still struggle. Mark, honestly, you know, people only have to spend some time with me and see me and work. My addiction used to say to me, you'll have to pack your job in if you don't drink and take drugs. You can't possibly DJ anymore. You'd be shit. You'd be a shit DJ. Mark, I hated my job. I was like, I had to get picked up. People knew, don't book Lee, or if you do, you're going to have to go and get him out of his house. to come and play. And then I'd sitting outside the gig, drinking bottles of vodka, having cocaine, scared to go in. I wouldn't look at the crowd, wouldn't speak to no one. Now I'm the opposite. I can't wait to get on the decks. I'm creative. I'm going through my music beforehand. I'm looking at my set. I'm looking at the crowd. I'm getting pictures with everyone. I've got time to give everyone. All them things are the opposite of my list. I was like scared to go in to the gig. Now I'm like, it's a simple choice for me. Like, it's a no-brainer. What do I want that for? You've got to work hard at retraining.
Takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Because once you get the rewards, I promise you won't hand them back. But as you say, it's still life on life's terms. But
it's just taking that control back, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's stressful, the programme. It is, and it's a lot of pressure sometimes. But the rewards from seeing some people making good friends, and people are making friends, and it's nice to see. And
because people think I've got some mates who are like fucking physical, fucking monsters, fit, strong, and they battle with addiction. And if you've seen them walking down the road, you think, they've got everything. More than one, honest to God, I've got a handful. Lads who've known for a long time, lads I absolutely love. And they fucking struggle, and it's hard.
You know what, Mark? What I was so passionate about initially was giving people what I found was.
But for the likes of yourself, obviously people that see you and look up to you for the stuff you've done in radio, and just the way you carry yourself. One of the lads, do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's massive power,
what
isn't
you've just
there?
said there, Mark, is what I realised, that me talking about it so openly and honestly, people, and I'm talking, like, people think addiction, it's all lads. It's not. We've got, like, all different professions. I wouldn't disclose them, but all different professions, like proper, important professions, like responsible professions in our programme. Women, men, young girls, older fellas.
Doctors, nurses, solicitors, the fucking
all of them are sitting in our programme, right, who've developed an addiction. Good people. They are sitting watching me years ago talking about this, relating to what I'm saying about the battle in the head and the arguing of a weekend, what you think you're arguing with yourself, and understanding the brain and saying this is your addiction and this is what it says, and them going, mine says that. I fell for that last week. They feel more comfortable inboxing me than they do going to doctors, walking into addiction. They're scared to go because they say, well, I can't lose my kids.
I understand that, because in a sense you actually understand that there's a relatability factor between you and these other people. It's similar to like the schools. Like my niece's kids in 13 to 15 are going to go that way or that way, because I've been there myself and I know how to speak to them and I know they understand me because I've got a good understanding of them, and it's just it's the same thing, isn't it?
It's having that relatability, someone who's
understanding,
who's talking, like,
not judging and like all these different things.
And it's having a programme where people feel like so comfortable coming. It only takes them a little bit of time, and of course there's people who come to the programme and it's not for them, just like AA wasn't for me.
But whether it's mental health, whether it's addiction, whatever it is, there's always that, people look for a reason and a purpose, and you can actually turn your suffering and your struggling into the purpose through helping other people and bringing meaning to it.
Totally. And the tools and the techniques. I mean, Marcus is, in particular, his awareness and his knowledge that he's picked up and learned around, like, this technique and national recovery and the midbrain and the neocortex and cross-addicting and what, it's phenomenal. So there's some of the different things we work on with people. And ego. Do you know, my ego was terrible, Mark. I thought I was a superstar. Like, my priorities were all wrong. And like, now I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, I'd be moaning years ago, well, my name's not at the top of the flyer. Well, I'm not fucking, my name bigger than everyone else's. I don't care if my name's on one now. Don't mention me if you don't want to. I'm not bothered. So I'll just come and play. I'm not asked. And like, ego and addiction are big together. Do you know, like I say to people in our programme, be proud of the fact that you're in recovery. It's so important, because your addiction wants you to not say nothing to no one, be embarrassed, be ashamed, and all these emotions that will get you to possibly drink or use off the back of negative emotions, shame, guilt. And I say, I can remember when my addiction was running the show, my midbrain was just running the show, and it took my wife, my kids, everything off me. I bought bars, lost them, remortgaged my house, nearly lost my house. You name it. My life was a mess. But I'd still be bragging to my so-called user buddies on a Tuesday. My addiction had me bragging about how long I'd been up for. Oh, where are you? I'm in my mum's. Yeah, hold me there. Bear kicked me out. Did she? Yeah, fucking threw a kettle at me. You're mad, you. I know, yeah, me and my mum's now. I've just ordered more. My man's gone to bed, so I'm getting more. Getting it dropped off outside behind the car wheel. Yeah, get on, Butler. He's fucking mad, him, innit? You're mad, you, Lee. I know, yeah. My addiction has got me being proud about how long I've been up for, how much misery I'm causing my family, and how I'm still using. I can remember having them conversations, thinking I'm great. And there'll be people listening who relate to that, who've got this like bravado where they're going. Yeah, I didn't go to bed till Monday afternoon. I was still ordering it Monday morning.
Just a way of justifying.
Now I say to people, I will sing it from the rooftops, me, Marc. I'm so proud of the fact that what my recovery's brought me. Like, so people say to me, how come, you don't drink? What the fuck matter with you? I'll tell them.
Yeah.
This is what it's brought me. And I'm incredibly proud. I've got no embarrassment, no shame. I will talk about anything on my list. That open and honesty is everything your addiction doesn't want. Addiction lives in lies, manipulation, deceit. For my addiction to get what it wanted, I had to lie to me missus, to me mum, to work. The opposite of that is brutal, gut-wrenching honesty. And it takes a lot of time.
That comes when you start to release the ego.
Yeah.
It just comes naturally, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You stop really
people
caring.
in our programme, and I found this, my brain, through my addiction, had trained me to lie all the time. Because my life was just a big juggle of lies. Well, I hope she doesn't ring him. She rings him. She said it was in his, and I wasn't. I went to that club and I said I was staying in. And I said he wasn't well, and oh my God, well, speak to him first. Make sure he doesn't speak to him because work said, and if he speaks to the boss, and you've got this big fucking chaos of lies and deceit. So your life's always, you're never sure what you're lying about. So it was like my brain was trained to fib, even to me missus, over things I didn't need to lie about.
She's been good, hasn't she?
She's amazing. Honest, if I was there, I wouldn't have stayed with me. She's an absolute superstar. And we've been through some horrendous times.
Only met her for the first time on
I know.
But obviously I've seen her dancing on your shows.
Yeah, and when we did Switch in lockdown.
Boss,
yeah, she is. And people say to me, how come your missus still drinks, though? You're on Switch all the time and she's drinking in front of you. But it's a simple equation for me, Marc. It's like, there's no temptation for me. All I say, because I've trained, completely reprogrammed my brain to see the truth. That's all. My brain can never, ever try and say to me now, hey, yeah, but why don't you just have a little drink?
Because logically, you're just weighing up the pros and the cons.
All I see now, if I look around the DJ box or someone says to me, or a doorman comes up to me and goes, hey, I've got a bit of that here, do you want a bit? It happens. Years ago, when I was starting and in and out of recovery, my addiction would go, hey, why don't you just have a little go tonight? It can't do that. It tried, and every time it did, I competed, I showed it my list, I showed it the real place, and I fucking won, and I gained more rope back and more rope back. And now, if anyone mentions drinking drugs, or I see it, or the only link I've got to it is the misery it brings me. So why should I be tempted by it?
And that's how you've trained your brain to basically perceive drinking drugs and...
Yeah, it's just, I see the truth. I just see, well, what would I want to drink and take drugs for? And rip away all this. It's that equation. It's going to take all that off me. Give me that back. But years ago, I could never, it was just always took me down.
But obviously through the stuff that I do in terms of like the self-development side of things and the work I do, even being into prisons, doing workshops, the stuff in the schools, a lot of the same practices you're actually implementing into your program.
That's why lots of the podcasts you send me, right, about like the conscious and the subconscious and living in the present. Lots of the stuff, and they don't talk about addiction, but lots of the stuff they talk about, especially with thought and the art of thinking, it's unbelievable.
But you're basically, what you're doing for me anyway, is when is it Jay? It is not Jay.
Marcus, yeah.
You're basically studying the mind.
Totally.
To take control of the mind. Like the guy who taught me originally, or my first teacher to do all the stuff what I'm into, he actually had I'm going to get him on at some point, but he actually had a breakdown and was very, very confused and struggling and suffering himself. And he tried a bit of medication off basically pharmaceuticals. And he chose to learn more about himself, gain a better understanding of his mind, practiced all the meditation, ended up getting a degree in psychology and all these different things to help cure himself. So in a sense, you've helping cure yourselves and just basically sharing the blueprint.
Yeah.
And created...
the thing is with addiction, it's like...
I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone. I'm saying everyone's capable of...
No, it's like, I know I needed the support to do it on your own. Fucking very, very hard. And to have that level of support and awareness and the knowledge that we hand them, and like the constant
and it's
support.
just bringing all that together, isn't it? And then, as you say, just working through it, the hard work, constant.
Yeah, and giving them the understanding of the science behind it is like, for me, was like, right, so now I'm starting to understand addiction, where this is developed. This is like, for me, and like lots of people who are in AA or the 12 steps, or they come at me a little bit about this, but I've got, as I've said all along, anyone, whatever program you're taking, I'll support you. But the disease powerless theory, for me, I just was just like, it just wasn't
I've
for
struggled
me.
with the same thing, because for me, if you tell yourself something enough times, you'll actually believe it, and it's...
Like, this is about taking back control and choosing taking the choice and understanding that choice to not drink and take drugs brings you sensational rewards. It's the best choice you ever made. It doesn't feel like that at the start, because your addiction's over here going, what? You've made the decision not to drink and take drugs. Your addiction, your midbrain's not going to fucking give you a round of applause when you go, you know what, I've had enough, I'm fucking stopping. It's not going to go, oh yeah, fucking it's right. Good idea, I'll leave you alone. It's going to go, fuck that. So we'll keep asking. And that's where not having the support gets hard, because you just end up falling for it and going, oh fuck it, go ahead then. And then chaos strikes again. But the whole disease thing for me was just like, it felt like a fucking life sentence. I was like, you're telling me I've got a disease for life and I've got to wake up every day and I'm an addict? And I'm like, no, I want to take back control and understand why. And when I understood the science behind the brain and the dopamine release, I was like, wow, I've got an opponent here. I can really start to recognise and separate myself from my addiction. And the tools that we learnt along the way, which is the tools aren't in the book. The book's brilliant about the science, and the book's amazing. It's the core of where this come from. But everything we learnt is in the program.
Yeah, through practice.
And we're trying to hand them all the mistakes we made. Do you know what I mean? Like everything we heard, everything we fell for, we're preempting them, saying, so we can spot it.
So your own experiences become kind of
a program.
What you teach, yeah,
you're right. You're right, it has.
Amazing. Smashed it, haven't you? How long's it been since the last time you had a drink? Or
for over 5 years now. I never think about it no more, Mark. Not actually active. My addiction just never challenges me. It doesn't matter where I am, in work, on a beach.
Yeah.
All the places it said all the things it said I wouldn't be able to do anymore, I do. What you've got to realise is that survival part of your brain, it's got access to its old subconscious hard drive with all the memories of drinking drugs. So let's say someone says, right, they come to us and we say, listen, you need to commit to never again, because any less just means you'll keep relapsing. That's addiction's different than people who can moderate it. I could never moderate it. It's impossible for me and impossible for anyone who's got an addiction to just go, well, I'll just do it every 3 months. Because if that was possible, we'd all just be doing it every 3 months. Addiction is completely different than moderating it, but it will try and say to you, well, just moderate it. And then you'll go and try and do that and end up in the fucking pit of misery again. When we say to people to commit to that, it's like, it's really, really daunting for them. But once they come in and they go, you know what? And seeing that power change for them, it's like, it's the best decision I ever made.
But the thought of never drinking or never taking drugs again is not in their worldview.
No.
So they've got to change that.
What I'm saying about their addiction, when you say it, their addiction goes, well, yeah. Where that daunting feeling comes from, because I had it for a long time. For like 12, 18 months, 2 years, I could still feel my addiction going, fucking, especially at the start when I said, right, I'm done. I'm never drinking or taking drugs again. I can't moderate it. I've tried to do it once a month. I've tried to cut back and not stay up all night. I've tried to just drink and not take drugs. I've tried to just fucking go have a night out and go home and go sleep. Even when I go sleep, I get up and I use the next day. I can't moderate it. I've got an addiction. I can't stop when I start. My addiction went, so you're never going to drink or use again. Here's 27 years worth of fucking memories off my fucking pre-programmed hard drive of drinking drugs. You won't be able to do none of that again. And that's when people go, oh my God, I'll be bored. I won't be able to go to the match. I won't be able to go. concerts. I won't be able to go to a gig. I won't be able to fucking go out with my missus. She'll think I'm boring. What about when I go on holiday? When the kids get married, I can't even toast them. What about New Year's Eve? What about fucking when I go out with the lads? Stag do's.
Because you're automatically connected to drinking things, don't you, to the
because your brain's programmed that way. So it goes, well, you can't do none of that. And that's where the, oh my God, the daunting feeling comes in. And that daunting feeling is your addiction going, yeah, I won't be able to do none of that. But the thing is, 80% of that stuff that my addiction threw at me, I'm not interested in doing it no more. Because 80% of it, I was only...
What do you enjoy?
80% of it, Mark, was my addiction. Dragging me to places, doing things and going places with people I wouldn't, if I didn't drink or take drugs, I wouldn't fucking go with.
Yeah.
It was my addiction dragging me to places to use. The 30% that's left that I am passionate about, which is what answers your next question, is me job, me radio station, me festival, me raving fits, me family, me wife, me kids, me fitness, me health, learning, being a good person, being fucking trustworthy and honest and loving and everything I wasn't. That 30% that's left that I'm passionate about, I'm fucking excellent at it. I'm better at it than I ever was. They're all the things my addiction stopped me being good at. My addiction got me good at lying and manipulating and going missing and staying up for days and having fucking palpitations and being paranoid and weird and wired and not going to work and throwing my relationships away and being dishonest and disloyal. That's not what I'm passionate about. My addiction was. Addiction loved all that. Lived on that. What I'm left with is that creation and drive and ambition and fitness and me marriage and like, if the match is on now, the contentment like I have now from sitting at home, I could never sit in my own skin because my addiction was all over me all the time. Like,
what about your family and stuff like that? How much of a difference has it made the last 5 years?
The great thing about my commitment, Mark, to never ever drinking or taking drugs again, right, is, and some people and some other programs find that commitment difficult to commit to, which is fine. If one day at a time works for you every day and you have a lifetime of abstinence through that, brilliant. Didn't work for me because my addiction was like, okay, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow because you're only committing to today. And so I struggled, battled, the battle didn't go. And it was the battle that I hated. I wanted freedom from my addiction, which is out there. But it took me a long time because only to rebuild the trust with my wife and my kids and work and my family, my mum, and to rebuild that trust, it had to come through actions. Words fall on deaf ears. I'd promised me missus a million times.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
I'd lied to her. I'd swore on my kids' lives that I wasn't using and I had it in my back pocket. I was a liar to her, a manipulative liar. So only my actions were going to change that. But the amazing thing about that commitment is now my wife's got a commitment. My wife knows I'll never drink or take drugs again. And you know what that brings? And so do my kids. My kids aren't fearful of me going to work and not coming home. They're not fearful of me not being able to go in the back room. Don't go in there, your dad's in there, because I'm sitting on my own for 2 days in the back room drinking and using drugs. Like paranoid, saying to me, missus, don't let them in here. I'm not twitching in bed telling my daughter a story, getting up and getting out of bed. See, I'll talk about all that. Lots of people would be too ashamed to say it. But me talking about it openly and honestly, it's just a stark reminder that why I'd never go back. Like, ever. Why would I be tempted by that?
In a sense, you're reminding yourself, aren't you?
Of the only thing it's got to offer me. Like, so there's no temptation. But my wife has got that. She's got a guarantee. I've handed my guarantee to her through my actions. She knows. She's never got to worry about me drinking or taking drugs again, and she doesn't. She fucking knows for a fact. And so does my mum, so do my family, so do my kids. And they're all dead proud of me like I'm proud of myself. And that's there for everyone. And that's why I'm passionate about it.
What a reward that is.
Yeah, it is. And that commitment to never ever again, she's got it now. She knows. So do my kids. It's just like, they know. It's laughable. They just know there's no chance I'd ever pick a drink up or a drug again. I've got no problem being...
For me, it's nice, because honest to God, one of the best fellas I've ever met, to see them get the reward of actually getting the true Lee, who Lee really is.
Yeah.
It's a special...
And the things I'm achieving, Mark, the radio station, like, there's no way. I'm under no illusion. That gratitude you say you practice every day, that's just my list. My list of gratitude compared, but I will never forget that one. You hear me talking about lots of the things people would say, oh, can't believe you talk about stuff like that. Why not? That's what my addiction brings to the table.
That'll help someone else.
Yeah. Over here, I've got me waking up every morning. Do I want to get up at 4:30, 4:45? I'm a cold when I wake up. Can I hear, like, that part of me going, that fucking negative part of my brain trying to go of a morning, fucking hell, you know what? It's fucking pissing down. It's pitch black. But I get up and I win that thought. Like we say to people when you're first starting this program and you're learning about your addiction, lots of the times you can't stop the first thought. It's winning the second thought. I still wake up some mornings and go, oh, you know what, fucking hell, it's fucking freezing. But I recognise that negative thought and I win the second one. I make sure I win the second thought.
That before, yeah.
Sometimes you can't stop the first thought. It's like...
I've actually trained myself to think about a couple of things I'm grateful for before I go to sleep. And first thing in the morning, just always actually go in, do that to me, little girl, thank you and good night. Same for me little boy. And obviously my Mrs. Katie's always there
with
as well. With
addiction, right, like you can't take away the memories either. Like I can't take 27 years worth of drinking and using memories away. So there will still be times when my addiction doesn't challenge me around actively drinking or taking drugs, but it will still throw memories at me. Like I went to a garage the other week. I was going to Ravenfit. And I stopped at a garage and never stopped because I'm a lazy bastard and I let the fella in West Derby put it in for me. By ours.
You still do that?
He still put it in for you. Yeah, you have to pay him extra, like, and you still have to get out the car.
I didn't know they still done.
Yeah,
that.
They do there. So it was shut, so it was night time, so I was going to this garage. I pulled in this garage where I used to go and meet someone to pick up cocaine. Now, it's impossible for me to take away that memory. It's a memory. It's like me bumping into someone I used to play footy with. It's
like me saying to you now, don't think of a purple elephant.
Well, yeah, but it's like you bumping into someone you used to train with years ago in a fighting camp, and him going to you, oh, do you remember that time when we were training with such and such, and that guy come in and taught us all them moves? It's like you go, no, I can't because I don't want to remember it.
I understand it, yeah.
It's me memory.
You can't remember it.
No. So you're always going to have memories of but that's all they are. They're powerless over me. It's just a memory. As soon as I pulled in to get it, I remembered pulling in that. It was like deja vu, pulling in and remembered that situation. But it can never get me to engage anymore around like, oh, remember that when you used to do that? Fucking hell, wouldn't we like to do that again now? Them days are gone.
And that's the second word again then.
Because it can show me the memory, but I am straight in. This technique's who I am now. It's not what I have to do. The tool belt of my recovery is just part of me. Like everything you learn, the way you are nowadays, it's not something
it's not something you do, it's who you are.
It's who you are. It's who I am now. And I say this to everyone in our programme. At the start, it might feel like you're learning these tools and you're having to put them on and voice it and get your list out.
That's like your body gets, because I speak about exercise and stuff like that a lot, obviously, because of how important it is, not just physically, but for the mental side. If I haven't exercised by 10 a.m. in the morning, this is why my body's conditioned now and programmed. It starts to release chemicals which basically say, why haven't you fucking trained anymore? And they come in the form of a bit of anxiety, a bit of frustration, a bit of anger. So I know I've got to get that exercise in first thing in the morning, because otherwise my body's going to start saying, Mark, what's going on? Why haven't you trained? Why haven't you exercised?
Yeah.
And it's that awareness, isn't it? And having the understanding that.
And it is that awareness, which a word Marcus uses lots in our recovery programme, be aware.
But awareness, consciousness, and
be aware of what your addiction's saying.
People even
be aware of the feelings it's generating. Your addiction,
people aren't aware in general. It's like stuff, obviously stuff I'm passionate about, stuff I speak about. Even people who've got no addiction or no, people in general are unaware, and they just take all the information what they're fed through all the different sources, and they just start to feel and behave.
Yeah, which is lots of stuff. I'm like, as you know, I'm always on you now for podcasts now. I read lots of stuff about that, because the link I see between the two.
People are experiencing addiction, obviously understand they've got an addiction, and through the stuff what you're offering, you're actually waking them up and they're becoming more conscious.
And they're also learning the science.
They have a much better quality life after that. And there's people who are living day to day and aren't enjoying who they are and the way they live in their life. And they're completely unaware because it became that normal to them. So, like, my mission is to share the same kind of information what you're sharing, a lot of the same practices with people, to actually highlight the fact maybe you're not happy doing what you're doing and being who you are, because you're just a product of your environment and living this way, which is all as you know. The more conscious you become.
60,000, 70,000 thoughts a day, and nearly all of them, if you're just doing the same thing,
the same as the day
thoughts
before.
as the day before, unless you can start to retrain and rewire and fire.
But I can
your brain
relate
up
to so
differently.
much of your program, because it's not much different than the stuff I'm speaking to men in prison over, which is actually a reason why they're in that position in the first
awareness
place.
is very similar.
The key, yeah.
The only difference is that your midbrain's releasing fucking huge amounts of dopamine, like when you've got an addiction. So
Off
it's
a drug, yeah.
chasing that release.
Which suppresses your own natural form
Yeah,
of
yeah. So
the same chemical.
And that's all that's happening is I'm replaced. I don't look now for external things like drinking drugs to release my dopamine. I've got them in my family and me.
By taking the baby somewhere.
Yeah,
or,
it's the biggest high I could have. But they're all the things that it took off me. Like spending time with my kids, being there and present with my own three, like at home. Like when you understand your midbrain, it's powerless over you. It really is. Once you have the awareness and you take back control and you're present and you're acting, like
you stop reacting
to
everything.
Your midbrain can only send signals to your neocortex, instructions. It can't. It's got no access to your arms and legs. It can't work. If your midbrain's saying, why don't you get a little bit this weekend? The match is on, the sun's out, go on, you've done all right, just don't go mad. It can't walk the shop for you. Your rational brain's got access to these.
Yeah.
Like, it's got no access to your arms and legs or making decisions. You've got to believe that for your rational brain to go, oh, you know what, I will walk the off you and get a little bottle of vodka then. Your rational brain makes all the decisions. It can only do three things. It can talk to you. Unfortunately, it's in your own voice. You've only got one voice box. So when you're hearing your addiction, it's going, hey, why don't you just get it? It's in soft, sultry, or hey, she's a swat here. Fucking still talking to you like shit. Aggressive voice. It's always your voice. Yeah. If your addiction spoke to you in some big Welsh accent, it'd be easier. Hey, boyo, why don't you have a little pint at the weekend, eh? You go there, you are. But it's not.
It doesn't.
It's your voice. It can talk to you. It can generate feelings. And it can show you images. They're the only three things it can do. That's the only three things it can show you. Beer gardens, sun out, lads, girls, this. And it can generate feelings with that and the voices. And what we're training you to do is when you recognise the voice or an image, the first time you recognise it, you can stop that happening. It'll go.
You won't react no more.
It'll speak to you. Respond. And then if you engage with the voice, it then starts putting images in of you in that beer garden watching the match with the lads. And you're like, yeah. And then it'll start generating the feelings to go with that. And then by the time it puts the three together, it's really fucking released bits of dopamine and you're struggling. You're like, three things, it's used all its cards. And you're like, you're over the fuck it button. I'm just going to go. What we're training people to do is bang, as soon as you fucking spot this bastard.
Create a window.
Yeah, you don't have just you trying to compete with it. You have got an army of us who will help you win them battles to start with. And the more you win, the more rope you get, the more you step out of that box, the more your new list,
power back on you.
The more your new list starts and the power shifts and you're like, you know what? So when it does start, even after a few months, it goes, hey, you're like, what would I give you this back for? But lots of the people, like I was, just living in this box, saying I'm functioning, saying, yeah, I still function, I'm all right, the kids go to school, the bird still gets what she wants, but you're fucking in a world of misery. It's only when you get out of that and get over here, do you realise, and I look back at my old box of pain, I call it, my box of evidence, and I go, oh, it takes me breath away. I'm like, what was I thinking? That's a little chance there is of me going back. I'm like, what on earth was I thinking? Like, the way I was, the way I acted, the way I behaved. I'm like, oh, wow. What would I give this up for that? It's totally irrational.
What are the things what you really enjoy the most now? What is it, obviously going from the way it used to be, 5, 6, fucking all the way back. What's life like now?
Do you know, like I put that much energy into what I do. Like, my radio show. I got up and like some people say to me, you're only on the radio for 4 hours in the morning. Well, obviously I have meetings and stuff after that, but them 4 hours, like when you're waking people up across Liverpool in the Northwest and they, you know, I take great pride in some people tuning in, the station's doing amazing. It's
like ours every morning.
It's
we'd
like,
be dancing in the mornings.
So like giving people, like it takes a lot of energy. Like,
I understand, yeah.
Do you know, like, and then that everything, like lots of people who listen to me or come to me gigs, they'll see how much energy I put into me gigs or my raving fit classes, how much energy go into them. Or if I'm doing my recovery stuff, you can see how much energy and passion I've got about that. So I'm like the opposite. when I'm not doing these things, I like the polar opposite.
Recharge.
Yeah, I like to be quiet, and I like to go away and take the kids, spend time with my granddaughter or my kids or my wife, like nice quiet meals. I've just
bought a place abroad.
Got a place in Spain, which is in a really little Spanish town. Like, it's gorgeous.
10 years ago, would you have dreamt that you'd be in the position what you're in now?
And there's just all rewards of gratitude that my recovery's brought me, and I honestly believe it has. There's no chance I would have achieved these rewards, this gratitude, without stopping drinking and taking drugs. Not a chance. Not a chance. And that's what makes the equation so much easier. I'm just like, it's a no-brainer. It's something I'll never do again. Like, and it's the
and you get up at 4:30 and you start the radio at 6. So what are you doing for an hour and a half before?
Well, now listening to you, and I take lots of great inspiration from the way you talk and the things you do and the things you put in place. So, you know, routine's never been one of my strong points. Like, I'm very unorganised. Like, I've spoke to you about it, haven't I?
Yeah.
So there's always things I'm always looking to improve and learn and like get better at. So like now I get up and I started meditating, which I've never done. I was always one of them ones who was like, what are these lot on about? Meditating and frequencies, and what are you on about? And then I went away on holiday and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try it. And lots of the stuff that they speak about having that awareness and that separation between any past and negative thoughts, and it really resonated with me, probably not because a lot of the science behind what I'd learned.
It fits well, doesn't it, with obviously the work, what you do with the break.
I get up now at 4:30, 4:45, and I will go down, and then instead of going through my phone for half an hour and like I used to and sit there and just I'm only just starting out today. So I'm thinking 28 days into this 31 day, so I'll meditate now for 15 minutes. And it's something I never thought to do, but it just brings my heart rate right down as well. And then when I've done that, I get up, I go into work, do my show. I usually have meetings through the day, and I get home and I've either got my recovery meeting to go to or my raving fit, so I'm home for a bit, I'll have my tea, I'll go back out, I'll do my raving fit, I'll get home. And so my goal next year is to find a bit more time for me.
That was my next question. Where do you see yourself being in 3, 4, 5 years from now? What's the plan?
You'll never take me passion of the music away, and you'll never take me passion about recovery away. But my life-work balance isn't great. You know, I forget how old I am. You know, like, I think one thing my recovery's brought me is this such big, huge lease of life. Now that I don't drink or take drugs, it's brought me so much energy that I forget I'm 52. Like...
That energy's always been there, by the way.
I know it has. No, listen.
It's just been suppressed.
Completely. So now, like, I don't have many regrets because I do regret, of course I regret some of my actions and my behaviour, of course I do. I will not live in guilt about them because I did that for too long, and that kept me drinking and using. The guilt of the mistakes I'd made and the things I'd lost would keep me in such a negative mindset and emotion that I would drink and use off the back of it. Now that empowers me. I will talk about, you've heard me mentioning lots of stuff on my list tonight, swearing on my kids' lives, fucking arguing, fighting with the missus, the kids seeing us scrapping in the hall, getting arrested, police at the house, you know, like, they're not things normal people would share. I will. Because they empower me, so I know I'll never be on that list again, and I'm so fucking happy about it. It's like, but the thing is, like, the energy, I look back and I do have regrets of my behaviour, of course I do. But I also, now I'm full with all the energy that I had that I didn't use, and I'm like, part of me regrets. If I have one regret, people who come into our programme, some of them are young, and I can see their addiction saying to them, oh, what a daunting prospect, that's 23, 24, to never drink or use again, like, in today's society as a young lad. I know at 23, 24, but I look back now and I wish... It's
completely going against the grain, isn't it?
Yeah, but I say to them, your addiction's making you feel terrified at the thought of quitting at such a young age. Well, you're only young. It's all right for him. He's older than you. He's been out. He's done his clubbing. I said, but you know what? The one regret I had was never doing it. Now I look back and think, if I'd have had this energy and drive and creation to actually commit to things, I'd never commit to nothing. I had all these ideas. The radio station I've set up with Steve and Christine.
But you just like that?
I was never fit well enough to do them. Ever. Raving Fit, I had that idea for years. Never fit well enough. It's just a mess all week. and then it's used again at the
You
weekend.
find you've got to slow yourself down now.
Yeah, so I have to make a conscious effort now. At my age, I'm like...
Not to follow all these ideas.
Yeah.
Now you've got the energy, the logic, everything's there, the clarity, and now it's like...
Yeah.
Now you've got to weigh up whether it's worth you actually giving so much time and
actually
energy to
having
things.
time for me and my family and like to enjoy.
Important.
Even to enjoy the freedom that my recovery's brought me. Do you know, like, I'm in a new place abroad, but I'm constantly saying, gigs, things, this. So my goal is to find a little better balance, which you're going to help me with, aren't you?
Help you manage yourself a little bit better.
Yeah, I need to manage myself a bit better because I am like aware, because I get up and do my radio show so early, then I come home and I go to a raving fit or I go to a recovery meeting, and then the weekend comes, and for most people the weekend means like, oh, I've got the weekend to myself. What's the complete polar opposite for me? The weekend will come and I'll have 2 or 3 gigs Friday.
I kind of do a thing, Lee, which I've spoke to you about before, but I don't actually have a Monday to Friday, Friday to Monday. I'd have a different team for each day. So like the weekend, we create this whole 7 days, 5-day work week. That's something we've actually created ourselves. For me, it's just Monday, I'll earn a few bob. Tuesday, I'll recharge the same as you. If I'm speaking to people all day Monday, I need time to myself to recover on the Tuesday, which is like my meditation, my study, stuff what I actually enjoy. Wednesday's the same as Monday. Thursday's the same as Tuesday.
No, you're right.
Friday's like my schools, which could be for you, the break free. Weekends is purely family, and there is no Monday to Friday. I don't want to be
tough for me
Monday looking forward to
I'm
Friday.
up and I've got
Friday.
like set responsibilities, like my work. I've got to be up. I've got to be on the radio for that time. I've got to be at my recovery meeting Tuesday night, or raving fit Wednesday night, and then the weekend comes and I'm up doing my brekkie show. Then I'm going home, and then I've got to be at a gig at 9 o'clock, and then another one at midnight, and then I'm up Saturday morning to do my recovery walk, and then I've got 3 gigs Saturday night. I can't, unless I consciously make a change.
Yeah.
To start
Which you've got
saying
to do.
no.
By the way, it's
then
not.
It's very difficult for me to step out of them responsibilities because people are, and every single one of them things I will bring like the ultimate energy and passion to. People know if they see me at my gigs, or if they see me in a recovery meeting, or they see me at Raving Fit, I'm in the class with them because people expect that of me.
People love you for that, but at the same time, so we've only got so much energy, haven't we?
And like, I'm at that point where I want to start enjoying
yourself.
Yeah. But it's finding that balance, because I know if I went too far that way, I'd be like,
bored.
Yeah,
we get it.
So,
success then. What's your definition of success? Last couple of questions.
My definition of success,
because everyone's got a different perception on what it means to them.
I think now mine would be success comes from the inside, like not material things, or like they're nice, but like success for me is contentment and being happy. I never used to think like that, but I do now. And success for me is to see my family happy. Like if my family are happy and the people I love are happy, it makes me happy. And that's success for me. And if that's the thing is, if I'm happy and peaceful inside and content, and so are my family and my kids and my grandkids and my family are, then I've got the ability to go and really shine. And then material things will come from that.
By being yourself.
Yeah, will come from that. Whereas years ago, I was always chasing external things all the time, which was linked with my addiction.
Been there, done it, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's just like...
And the obviously the 4th podcast, but no one's ever said the material, and we know material things are important, but you just kind of answered me the last couple of questions. It's always what's success, what's happiness, but you just answered the 2 in 1.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I have.
It's the same thing.
If especially my family and everyone I love, if they're all happy and content and healthy, then I'm really happy and content, and that's successful for me. And then from that place, I have got so much creative and ambition, because for years and all, when all that was a mess, when I was drinking and taking drugs and that was a mess, I was constantly trying to fix that.
So, putting your energy into all the negative stuff instead of...
trying to fix and save things. So I couldn't go and achieve anything. So the material stuff couldn't come because I wasn't right inside.
When you're in survival, you can't create from a place of survival.
No,
get out of survival,
and I was constantly in survival mode
creative,
from the survival part of my brain.
And now we're creating that, me being happy and saving fucking people's lives at the same time, which is,
Yeah, and you know what?
I don't know, that's hard to take, but it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I do it for the passion and like I just want people to get these rewards. And I know that place of frustration and lack of hope, just giving someone an avenue to go, you know what, I'll go online, breakfreesupport.com. I'll go and I'll register. And the best normal people develop an addiction, but it can be undeveloped. It can be undeveloped and retrained and rewired. And once you do it and the new program kicks in and the rewards come, you'll be under no illusion. There'll be no battle, there'll be no daunting feeling, there'll be no scare, no fear, no missing out. Because when mine used to say, oh, you're going to be missing out, I just get my list out. I'll go, right, I can hear you saying to me you're going to be missing out. Let's have a look what I'm missing. Because there's the evidence. And I'd read that and I'd go, that's all I'm missing.
Anyone who's struggling then or battling with addiction at this moment in time, have you got a message for them, or is there anything you want to share? Or
yeah, you know,
how can you help them?
Reach out. Our program's there. It's a program ran by just normal, proper, sound lads
and women, obviously, yeah,
and women. Like, it's there. The website's breakfreesupport.com. If you want to get the book that started this for me, Rational Recovery by Jack Trimpey, AVRT, Addictive Voice Recognition Technique, will explain the brain. There's a diagram of the brain in there. You'll get to page 130, which is the big plan. That's like when it really heats up in the book. And that's like, the big plan is your commitment to never again. So if I couldn't commit to never again, what am I committing to? Possibly, maybe. That's not a commitment. It's like saying, I might have a good day today. Well, you mightn't.
We won't.
You mightn't. But if I can't say I'll never drink or take a drug again, then what am I committing to? Possibly. That's the difference between the techniques, a proper commitment. But once, so anyone who's watching, don't be embarrassed. Be proud that you're reaching out.
Yeah, and there's a community of support there,
isn't it? Mark. Should be proud. I'm so proud of anyone who reaches out and sends me a message, sends me an email, who reaches out to the program. Like, isn't that something to be proud of? Because too many sit in silence and suffer and take their own lives even.
Well, I'm going to end the podcast on, I'm so fucking proud of you.
Thanks, mate.
Love you. Known you a long time.
Thank you.
Seen the journey from the outside. Seems a lot, everyone else, but for the people who you help and the person who I've known for a long time, you're a special guy.
Thanks, mate.
Made up to have you on. And thank you very much.
Thanks very much, mate. Get it up.
Let's go, champ.
There you go.